night. Check the radio, big crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
It's a hot one here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we are here to show you the Show Me Your 99 live here in Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Venom Truck Series here, presented in part by the folks over at Cole's Custom Shop. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader, Christian Schreiber, joining you guys here today here on the track as the field gets set to go for their action up away. We are currently under the warm-up session right now for the Show Me Your 99 Truck Series. The drivers are currently getting settled up here, getting ready to bring it down to the house, bring it down to the track here, see how everything plays out and see who will be the top dog of them all as we continue on with multiple winners and multiple drivers still searching to keep their pace and keep center stage on the track, as well as now having to figure out how to maneuver and outclass the speeds of Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as we're going to take a look at it right now with our Track Tech Talk. 1.5 miles in length here. This is without a doubt another cookie cutter kind of style track with a bit of a trioval design. D-shaped configuration though. Mainly it is a D-shaped configuration due to the fact that it's kind of more shaped as if it was like a Kansas Speedway slash a mixture of Chicagoland Speedway, I guess you could say, without the backstretch oval. But the biggest thing here to watch out for without a doubt is the tight runs. The beginning of the stages here, beginning of these restarts, drivers in these truck series are going to stay pretty close together, pretty tight on the pack here. You're going to see a lot of drivers trying to keep the wind airflow around the truck, trying to push and puncture the air with that heavy-duty piece of equipment they call the F-150s, the Silverados, and the Tundras. They're going to be doing everything they can to try to get these trucks at full speed and full power with a 550 horsepower package, though. There's only so much you can do and so far you can get with. And the draft, extremely crucial for these drivers, and they know it. So with that in mind, the race fans right now currently as we get settled up onto the track and onto the playing field here, will be interesting to see how everyone shapes and fares on the speedway here. Of course, this is a very interpretive track here. It's going to give these guys a little bit of room, a little bit of workarounds, but even there is multi-groove ends to the track. Most of the runs you'll see that build speed up are going to be on the bottom lane to slightly in the middle. Not a lot of room though on the top side. Top side's going to be kind of no man's land when it comes to trying to get that kind of speed from. But who knows? We may see some drivers go up there and venture off just to try to build a little bit more runoff on the track. We'll have to see. As we are now tiptoeing our way around, it is time to present to you the Show Me Your 99 presented by Kroll's Custom Shop. And here is your starting lineup, your race fans. Here is the final starting lineup. Nathan Reynolds is the number 1 seed, and number 51 is outside Ryan Dye in the 15. In row number 2, it's going to be Brandon Veers, and the number 13 is outside. It is Jan Van Leer in the number 5. Row number 3 is going to be piloted by Jeremy McKinnon. The 12 is outside the 53. That's Kyle Zittel. Row number 4, Garrett Rainey, and the 17 is outside. It is the big 05, Chad Steems. Row 5, it's Ryan Mitchell, and the 78 is outside. The 55 is piloted by Paul Ellison. Row number 6, Jeff Langston, the 21 is outside. It pilots it down. The 26, Eric Breeding. Row number 7 is the 73, and Michael Dean is outside. It's the 8, Josh Maxwell. Row number 8, it is the 2, John Cade is outside. In the big 50, Corey Rutherford. Row number 9 is the 32 of the Andy Palicki is outside. That's the 99, Willis Salamoni. And row number 10, that's going to be Sammy Dunaway. And the 6-7 is outside the 76. That's Pascal Samard Pace. Row number 11, piloting down in the 22, it's Brentley Gainey Jr. and is outside. The 28 is Mr. Rodney Roberts. Row number 12, David Fay, the 88 is outside the 11. That is Shane Wensloff. And row number 13, Kyle Dubik will pilot the 18 with Paul Sargent. The 49, our final man today, Michael Krall, the number 29. And race fans, they come from all different planes of the North American region. 2 drivers from Canada, rest Americans, all across the shining seas of 50 states. They have now traveled to the wildest, the rowdiest, craziest place on earth, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Las Vegas, Nevada has now brung us the drivers to battle in the desert, where the skies never fade off because the lights never go dark here in Vegas. And it's time to roll the dice and see who can show me their 99, the best and the brightest. It's the Colt, presented by Kroll's Custom Shop. It's the Show Me Your 99 here for the Venom Truck Series. The fans are on their feet, waiting the arrival of these drivers. Over 50,000 in attendance, ready to get at it here. Launching for the start, awaiting the command of our starting guy here. You see him fly the flag green down as they come around off of turn number 4. Awaiting the start to the Venom restart zone. They bring it to the start of the track. We are off running here at Vegas. Here we go, 99 laps to the distance. We'll get them all fired up right out of the gate here. Drivers already trying to maneuver down the bottom lane, looking for some speed. Motioning for the run, though. They'll bring him off the back straightaway. Still, his feet are going a bit harder as they go. A lot of open area down there for some drivers, and a lot of guys trying to make some moves where they can, trying to find some big positions to gravitate to. Looking for the early runs and the early momentum while they can. Brandon Veers, the number 13, doing just that here. The Billy Bad Bud Motorsports Machine right now trying to get the runs going, trying to get the early advantage going. As the rest of the field kind of stays back in the middle of the pack there, you see a little bit of movement coming in the middle. There's a 78, that's Brian Mitchell, trying to get a little bit of drive off of the number 55, Paul Ellison. Ellison, though, dealing with some company right up top, bottom of him, Rotella, number 21. That is Jeff Langston here. Langston, again, one of those cats we've seen a lot of times here. He comes out, he'll fire on all cylinders when he can and make some moves when he has to. And it seems as though some drivers are already kind of staying back behind the waistline, trying to stay slower to preserve the tire wear and the control of the truck. Remember, these things burn up quickly on those tires here. The Vegas heat, the sand, the desert sun, and everything that comes with it. It's a very tight, ornate track, and it makes for a great racing action here when done right. But it also made for a bit of craziness mixed in between. The 15 and the 13 now going at it here. Ryan Dye in the right, looking for his first win of the season here. Has had many second place finishes. He's talked about it before and saying how much he just can't seem to get his monkey out of his back. He'd love to change that here. This will be a good time to show it here as we are currently live here in Las Vegas. Number 05 here, Chad Seams here making some ground up here. Remember Chad Seams last week, what a showdown he went out there and put on with these drivers. Managing to come out of that one and fight off the race lead for the win. Did not held back, did not give up, and certainly put on a show as he walked away with the win there. Chad Stearns looking to do it again, and I just mentioned, and I just said his last name again here, so Stearns, I apologize, man. It looks like Stems on my end. It's not Stems, it's Stearns. Well, apparently he is not too happy with that, so he calls a few spots back because he doesn't want nothing to do with me here because he lets the 73 Michael Dean and the 78 of Brian Mitchell right up ahead of him. The Dean of drivers, the 73 machine right now looking to prove that he can school the field and he can school a few drivers on a few educational lessons here. But again, getting kind of blocked off there by the number 78 and the 21. You can see just how difficult it is to pass out of the gate. And really a lot of that has to do with one thing. There's no room to pass on that outside, and you got to rely on that draft line to really build speed and build momentum. Getting to that bottom is extremely crucial, especially when you may make a run for the lead. Here comes the 15 of Legionnaire Ford F-150. Ryan Dye to the lead. And now it's a back and forth affair here between the Savage Arms F-150 for heavy duty of Ryan Dye and Jeremy McKinnon. McKinnon right now back and forth with one another, looking for the openings, looking for the shots to hit in the arm. Jan Van Leer just waiting in the wings in the OxyClean 5-0, looking for both drivers to make a mistake. Drives up a little higher though. Jan's got to be careful. Don't want to get too high up into those marbles. The outside line has no grip and it will give no give back to you. He knows this. That's why he stays out of that position and stays in control. Down to the bottom here off the 3 and 4. Back straight away. We are still side by side right now for your race leader. Ryan Dye trying to keep it there with McKinnon as the rest of the field tries to stick with it. In the back of the pack here, Josh Maxwell here kind of also leaning towards the back end. He was starting in 14th. He's down to 15th right now, trying to get up there to Ellison, Kay, Palicki, and Stearns. If you get to see how close everyone is getting in these corners and in these rides, you would mistake this place for a bit of a play track. And yeah, Vegas, out of the start, it can be a bit of a play track. It's a bit of a handful to work around, but that does not mean that it is a play track exactly. Matter of fact, this is the last place I'd call a play track. I'd honestly call this more of a pack race track. A pack race track, but once you get more separated out, then comes into timing, fuel, and speeds here on how you manage to mix match the other. But those that are up front, as long as they can stay under pressure and stay cool, the heat of the trucks will not become a problem. However, that does not mean necessarily down the road they couldn't overdo it just a little bit and force themselves to get a little bit more on edge. Garrett Rainey in 17 now looking to make a move off here on number 5. Jan Van Leer trying to hang him back there a few spots, trying to hold him off. Jan not giving an inch here, neither is McKinnon as he regains the lead. Oh, but Ryan Dye did not like that comment. He says, well, if he said I gained the lead, then why don't I go and take it back from him? Down to the bottom again, and everyone now just firing on all cylinders, looking for anything they can. Nathan Reynolds, the number 1 seed, entering into this race, moved back to the 3rd in the Billy Bad Butt Motorsports F-150. Trying to get this powered by Nitro 51 machine into a crossroads and into a perfect spot to take on the rest of the field. These drivers are certainly giving it everything they can and firing on all cylinders, just looking for openings, looking for a drive. And in the back of that pack here, you can see some other drivers that we usually see up front duking it out just a little bit. Will Salamoni back there, Eric Breeding and Rodney Roberts also kind of mixed and cross-stepped in there a little bit. Battle for 17th and 16th respectively. Nobody giving an inch in between that round there, not trying to give an inch to one another here. The Danita drivers falls back a little bit with the 32 of 80 Flicky. Maxwell also hanging up in those spots and trying to hang in the track. It's just some good, clean, hard racing here again. These drivers, they know each other well, they respect each other with all they can, but I will say too, you see one little tidbit, you may be seeing some drivers going upwards or downwards, a lot more down in turn number 4. I'll get to that in just a moment, why that is, because turn 4 in my opinion, is the hardest turn to get right and to get set up on this track for a multitude of reasons as we go into a 3 wide scenario there down in turn number 2. Now watch as they come off of turn number 4 here. I want you to go on board here and then Blicky. Watch down here, right there. You see it right exit they hit it there is coming off that exit. There was a huge flat spot, a flat marker, that when these drivers get right to that edge there, you may not be able to tell on TV and cameras, but when you're literally as a driver, and you're seeing kind of a more straightened out road, and then you have that little flat spot down the bottom of that track, you can actually feel it, and it really gets you good crossed over a little bit, and ends up hurting your momentum and hurting your ride the more you go around and go with it. So a lot of drivers, what they try to do is they try to stay to that bottom, but instead of trying to go full center off, when they're going into the exit, they're going actually a little bit more up to the top side here as Ronnie Roberts. And the 28 gets pushed back to the side into the infield care center a little bit. Well, he opened up his own lawn care service while he was at it. Uh-oh, there's trouble down there as well. Looks like the 99, Will Salamone slowing down off pace. Going to be right in front of Bradley Gainey Jr. Good drive there by Gainey. Well, my, what a little bit of a turnaround we just saw here. Let's take a look at the PTM replay, see what the heck happened here. We'll take a look at it here, and you're going to see the 28 and the 99 both in this camera shoot presented by Cole's Custom Shop. Here is the PTM replay. Just a little bit off corner there, 3 wide there, right for the 78. Now comes Salamone's issue. He gets the 3 wide treatment, but he's up on the top side here. And the number 78 didn't realize where he's at. Great save, though, by Will Salamone to hang on there while Brian Mitchell gave him that little love tap and centered him off. But good driving on both drivers, able to hang in there. Wow, and just like that, everything just kind of gets flipped around and all over the place here. Paul Sargent, Sam Dunaway, Kyle Dumake, and Michael Crawl, each trying to get their own line centered off the plate here, but at the moment not doing too well or too hot in that case. Dumake falling way behind pace and really about a 5-second gap back of the race leaders. And the speed's now starting to dwindle, the tires starting to fade, the cars, or trucks, excuse me, starting to give out a little bit. Chad Stearns now seizing his momentum and seizing the opportunity. Remember, this is what he did at Richmond last week. Looking to go out of here with the bad guy, Kyle Zittel, in the number 53. Rest in peace to a long-lost friend, Scott Hall. For those that don't know, I am a bit of a pro wrestling fan myself, and I did like Scott Hall growing up, so it was a heartbreaker to know he actually passed away on my birthday, March 14th here, that day. So, and I actually made the call about that, saying that he had passed away. So we do miss and love you still, Scott. You have not been forgotten, my friend. Jeff Langston right now in the 21, moving up it around with Chad Stearns, and I'm getting this last name right this time. I want to make sure I don't mess up Stearns' name. Stearns going into the bottom lane, going to let Langston take all the outside. He's going to try to guard the bottom, but again, the outside has run, but the bottom is where most drivers are going to try to keep the speed up and keep the run going. They're trying to shorten the track out by driving in there and driving around it. But again, you can see even Langston, when he came off that track there off turn number 4, watch this, he went up topside. He's trying to build the most speed up, but there's also that big flaring factor as well. That flat spot down there is actually making him kind of drift up just a slight bit. Doesn't want to get too crazy and too out of control. And knows if he gets into that little mess, that can be troublesome for him and very dangerous to hang on to. John Kay in the number 2 F-150 pushes the other F-150 driver of Andy Blicky into 32, giving him a good nudge or 2 in the back, trying to get him moving already, as he puts it. Neither driver letting off on the throttle, either one letting off in speeds or in the gaps. Everyone's looking for their opportunity. You can see though where we started at and now where we're at 20 laps already. This is a whole different ball game. This is not the same kind of racing we saw a minute ago. You saw everyone piled up closer together. Now look at this. It's literally single file row, and a lot of drivers are just now tempoing themselves to avoid too early of a pit stop or too late of a pit stop. That's something you see a lot of on these kind of races with these mile and a halves, is you get that crazy start and goes lasting for a while, then comes the pacing, the dictation of how much you ran and how hard you ran in that time frame and in that time span. That's the key to success here in the NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series. It's figuring out how to keep your truck loose and stable, but at the same time, trying not to burn that right rear up too much, or even that right front up too much, because really that right front's what's kind of saving these guys from getting too much in out of problem territory. The rear end doesn't get too loose unless you absolutely hammer the throttle, I'll tell you that much. And the man that stole a pace truck and put a big 50 on it, Corey Rutherford, moving his chains up a little bit. He is 2 spots up ahead. Not the hard charger, though. That honor belongs to the number 32, Andy Palicki. 8 spots up. The man is on a roll, and he is on a mission. Side-by-side still a battle for the 10-13 slot right now between Rutherford and Kay. Kay giving all the position up, though, losing his ground and clearance there. Will have to settle back into the rack. Into the back of the pack we go, and some surprises here. Brandon Beer is sent way back there in the 13 machine. Troubles earlier on costing him to get there. Brian Mitchell the same way. Driving a little too hard probably as well. Did not help their cause any. Kyle Dumig. And the number 18 Toyota Tundra right now making a little bit of a fight back with Will Salamone piling in right behind him. And you can see again, drivers right now, they're currently just having to try to wheel themselves around, trying to stay out of trouble, but at the same time they're trying to build up as much speed as they can. But any slight contact or any kind of little hit or two, and their run is ruined, and it ends up costing them pretty badly here, and they know it. That's why they're all trying to stay as dead focused as possible here, looking for any kind of extra leg up or any kind of momentum they can get. But one thing I'll tell you guys is it's so difficult with that 550 horsepower package to actually get that kind of extra momentum, that extra kind of boost when your tires are shot as they are. And I guarantee you right now, some of these guys right now, they started back in the 30s and 31s with the draft and the extra speed. Right now their last times were in the 32s. That should tell you guys a lot in just how much time they lost. They lost a full second by simply just driving way aggressive and way harder on the track than really you would think they should. But again, they had to because they knew if they didn't get to the front, then that came down to, now I got to pit strategy wise. I got to figure out how to set the right amount of laps, right amount of fuel, and then I have to figure out how to outdrive somebody coming to the edge. That's the thing about these 1.5 miles and these mile-long track, these 1.25 miles, mile longs and 2 miles that we always talk about. That's the strategy that goes into that kind of racing. It's a very unique situation to be thrown into. It's a very different kind of style compared to the usual short track stuff, which was, well, you just try to maneuver around traffic, you try to maneuver around other things, and then you had other ways to get around people if you couldn't get around them. But normally you could keep your car in one piece as long as you didn't do anything too crazy or stupid down there. Well, these guys right now ahead of them, though, don't seem to be caring too much about doing anything too crazy. Andy Palicki, Jeff Langston, Garrett Brady, talk about this battle right now for the top 10. This is for 7th right now, and 6th, respectively. I say 6th and 7th because Langston and Palicki are going back at it once more here, while the rest of the field now charging right up to them. Chad Stearns in the 05 getting a little bit of a work here with Paul Ellison, the 55 right on the top side. The Dean of drivers, Michael Dean, right behind the 55 now. Trying to get the insert coin. Duke's Mayonnaise machine right into the fray and into that battle. If we talked about, you know, the Duke of Mayonnaise's driving style of the Dean of drivers himself, he has no troubles putting on a little bit of a show if it means getting himself into a good little seat, a good little shot, and right now he's doing that and then some. He's also 3 spots up right now as currently 55 here, Mr. Ellison just really kind of came in and took my whole camera with him. Ellison, you gotta know I've only got so many of these cameras around here, man. I can't break these things. Although I will say it's pretty cool to see the little PTM Racing TV logos on the side there. I always love seeing it. I know I'm biased, guys. You can come at me for that, but I love seeing that stuff flying around on trucks and cars. It's so crazy to know. 2 years of doing this, and the iRacing community, it seems like, just has gotten bigger and better. And I'm not trying to sound like cockiness or anything, but it just feels like we've been accepted into this loving family, and without a doubt, I can't thank you guys enough for that. So thank you so much. And pit stops now being intergendered here. Jeff Langston and Nathan Reynolds, the front runners, have now put into pit road. Ryan Dye stays out with Jan Van Leer. And Jeremy McKinnon, by the way, he's no stranger to being in that top spot all season long. He's had a good number of chances to be in that top spot, but you know what? He has not taken home a race win yet here on the show. So that does beg the question. Has McKinnon put in the work and the practice and the timing to know how long this truck was going to work and how long it was going to go to perform a proper run? The way he's driving right now, it's very hard to see. It almost seems like he's trying not to go in for a full 3 times here. That's what the other drivers are going with. Ellison, Fay, Dunaway, Kyle Midway, Carl Sargent, they all have. Reynolds, Langston, Rutherford, they all have gone in pit road. But here's the deal. They're all going in on lap 33. And you look at how many laps we got. That'll be 3 pit stops in general for them. Now, that could work to some degree if they're drafting with one another, as Jeremy McKinnon has now gone in, so has Garrett Rainey. But the draft-wise, you need at least about 3 or 4 drivers to work together, and then you have to trust one another to not overdo the corners and overdo a turn. If the leader makes one mistake or makes one mental error, the whole run gets completely wasted, and having that push draft in the back on the back straightaways is not going to help you, Eddie. You don't get any drive or any push on that front stretch. I'll tell you that for 2 cents here. Reason why is because, again, you're driving from a completely straight backstretch, kind of like a drag race, if you will, so you can actually line these things up and bump draft. Whereas on the front straightaway, trying to do that, you're literally at the risk and at the mercy of hitting one little corner just wrong as you're turning the truck in, and then you go into that nice little swinging in turn 1. And I hope to pray that you can be able to figure out how to hold your line from there, because that's where you'll find the most trouble at. Pascal Samar in the 76 and the 22. Great Garrett Brantley Gainey Jr. now back at it once more. As currently both drivers are tied with a second fastest hard charger. Might actually be the hard charger of the year now, right? Both of them are tied to that. 15 up. I was just about to say Ronnie Roberts and Shane Wensloff were the hard chargers there, but they went into pit road, kind of flipped that flat around. Picking up some points, so here the number 15, Ryan Dye. He is currently now your new race leader. Let's see if he goes into pit road here. We're going to go on board with him. He's not going to pit road. Let's go on board here with Dye. Let's take a listen to this. So, where do you begin here with Las Vegas? Well, that's pretty simple. It's not a hard track to figure out. The hardest part is just trying to mix and match your speeds. So listen to this throttle. Listen to this. If you listen carefully, you can even see a speedometer. You can see how controlled he is entering and exiting the corners. He's not trying to lay it hard here, but he's not lifting off completely. You can hear he's going about 3/4 of a throttle as he shifts it down just a little bit above the white line on each center and each sector. That's what's keeping him from oversteering and overburning the tires up. The less you turn in, right, keep this in mind, drivers and fans out alike, the less you turn in and the straighter you can get your vehicle to go, number one, the better your tires last, and number two, the better the car or truck can last out on that track. And that makes it a lot more controllable and more distinguished than maybe, say, when you're running with a full throttle lug nut loose or two and you're just literally sending it in each turn as hard as you can. That's usually good for a qualifying lap or for maybe a last ditch effort, but here that's not the case. The better you can stay consistent and controlled, the more speed and power you bring to the table. And that's what these drivers are looking for, and that's what these guys are keeping a close eye on. And Ryan Dye is the master right now of all of them, as he is 7.5+ seconds ahead. You can see a lot of that was gained by drivers heading into pit road, but he certainly didn't get it by making it easy on himself. He had to be very patient and cordial on when he chose to go into pit road and when he decided not to. Right now, looking at the positions here, Will Salamone going into pit road now at the 99 after getting involved earlier on with the same kind of scenario Rodney Roberts got thrown into. Both guys currently steady Eddie and keeping their pace up into the ground here. Rodney, though, driving a very different line here. The 28 Hooters machine He's driving a little bit higher up than I think maybe I was expecting him to. And that could mean either two things. Number one, he's just trying to avoid trouble, or number two, he's actually trying to keep himself in a different kind of lane and angle. Now, it could work, but it doesn't get the speed, though, that Ryan Dye has, nor does it, in my opinion, going to make it last any longer. You can see what Dye and Gainey are up to, though. They're trying to minimize pit stops. They're going for a full half pit stop. They want to go half the length before they have to do the pit stop, and that's why you didn't see them driving so hard earlier. They were driving hard at the beginning, but when the time came and the time had to close off that fuel run, you know what they did? They backed off. They let the truck come to them. Now, we've seen this before. We have seen this before where some drivers, they're clever. They can get very smart with their strategy and their tires and their fuel. But lasting out that long with slower speeds runs one little risk, and that is the driver that is ahead of you, or that was ahead of you, faster than you by a set amount of seconds. Jeremy McKinnon and Nathan Reynolds right now, they know exactly what they must do. They're patiently, and I mean patiently, keeping a close eye on their fuel and their tires, and they're waiting it out for when the time strikes and they have to make a move around to get to Dye, Gainey Jr., Breeding, Pascal Samard, Race Pace, and Rodney Roberts. They're all waiting for him to just give them that one snidbit of air, that one little snidbit of speed, and they may be able to outrank them and outspeed them by simply just being faster. As we've now hit the halfway marker here on the show. Halfway now reached to race fans, and it's been a great showing by these drivers from all ends of the track here. You can see just how far stretched out some of these drivers are and how far some of these guys have kind of come around. And again, the only 6 drivers that have not been in the pit road: Josh Maxwell, Rodney Roberts, Pascal Smart, Race, Eric Breeding, Bradley Gainey Jr., and Ryan Dye. That's the only ones that have not been in pit road just as of yet. And again, it's because they're trying to make themselves last out as long as they can and not worry about what the others are doing. Garrett Rainey, the 17 right now, dealing with number 2, John Kay, right behind him, trying to build some speed up, a little bit of extra kick or two in the back. See if maybe there's anything down there for him, any kind of run they can get to it, but there is nothing there just yet. Now, I did say what I said earlier about the halfway point, and I thought, honestly, that maybe that was kind of what these drivers were up to and what they were kind of thinking and devising right now. But, again, if they do get that halfway point, you know, how long will that run and that extra speed that they had last out? Because even the guys that were in pit road earlier, like Andy Palicki, are now making some drives up ahead of them. The top 10 are coming closer and closer to getting back around Ryan Dye. Guy seems to be slowing down quite a bit, and I think he knows it too. Paul Ellison going to go battle here with Kyle Zittel. Remember, Zittel was the first winner of the season when he won at Daytona. A huge victory for him and his crew and his team. He's looking to try to get it done again as the number 55 of Ellison. He's not making it easy for him, but Ryan Dye trying to hold his line. The number one rule in that, the one rule in motorsports is if you're getting put a lap down, you're getting your lap back, hold your line. Well, these boys will put a lap down. Dye holds his line, actually drives up a little bit, let them by, does not want his race ruined. It's not a whole lot you can do. You don't try to block the guys that are coming up on you. You don't try to do anything too crazy to make them mad, because you're running, you've got the lead. There's no reason to try to get too crazy with it or try to get too all over the place with it. Back on board here with one of our boys here in the big skull, big skull and gears, if you will. Those boys there are representing with David Fay here, as well as Kyle Dumick, Sam Dunaway, and them. They have all had their fair share of showcasing here. I believe they're the Pinston Head Mafia, I believe is what their team name is. Well, there we go. Yep, on the right side. Take a look at that. Yeah, Pinston Head Mafia there. If you haven't, guys, already forgotten, I'm still trying to figure out all the teams here. I know I have a list of them, but it's hard to kind of keep going back and forth with them, so I just try to catch them when I can on the track. Pit stops now made. Jeremy McKinnon and Nathan Reynolds now going to put their strategy into full effect. Now, let's see how much extra speed and ground they will cover working together here to stay ahead of dying them. Now, I was said earlier, a single driver on their own would not have been able to get as much power, much run with that 1/3 of a pit stop being made. However, that's not to say that this couldn't be a bit of a hassle off and a little bit of a charge off here for these guys. That could be a difference maker here. Halfway into the run here. We are now for sure officially halfway done with this race. I don't know why I said earlier the 45, 46 marker was a halfway point. I apologize. I can't count. By the way, someone on Twitter earlier showed me Steve Myers' little thing he put up there saying something about a big announcement coming up tomorrow and something about math. So I guess it all comes full circle now, doesn't it? I can't do math. He says I gotta do math, and well, if I can't do math, then I don't know what the announcement's gonna be about then. I'll tell you one guy that knows how to do math, and that is how many wins he's got. Chad Stearns in that 0-5. He's got a win right now in his record books and in his keeps, and he's looking to get another one added in this season. But right now, if he doesn't get something figured out here in Vegas, I don't think he's going to get that anytime soon. He's got a lot of power in that Air Jordan 0-5, but hasn't quite built up the momentum in that run I think he was hoping for. You want to talk about a guy that also has had nothing but a strenuous amount of bad luck when it comes to finishing second. Jan Van Leer, man, talking about a cat that hasn't been able to get out of that mess and trying to get out of that position so often than not. He's looking to try to end that curse of his today, if at all possible. Still plenty of time, though. Just needs to stay focused, to stay on the mark, and stay on the shots. A little three-wide sit there with Josh Maxwell and Chad Stearns with Garrett Rainey there on the outside, kind of pulling the meat of the sandwich. So is the 8. As you see him driving hard off the corners, though, but that flat spot off turn 4 way too hard off the exit and causes him problems, and that's what he was worried about. So number 8, Josh Maxwell, was trying to stay on the lead lap and trying to get back into this here, but that is not going to help his cause any. Jan Van Leer now looking to take full control. He's in tip-top performance and tip-top shape here, looking to keep this piece of equipment all steady down and ready to go here. Doesn't want to let the truck get too loose or too edged out from himself, and now he's going to try to put the boost of the 0-5. Stearns and Veer now doing it. They're doing a great job battling for the top 10, and here comes that Dina drivers once again. Michael Dean's back in the house. He's back in the schoolyard. He's trying to lay down the authority and make sure everyone obeys by the rule of the school. But behind them all here, you can't talk about Golden Eagle speed without that power-based machine of Garrett Rainey. Rainey trying to rain on the upper brake and take full control. And my word, look at the damage on that Colts Custom number 8. Maxwell took a huge hit in that wall out of turn 4. That's what you don't want there, to see that kind of damage. That's what'll slow you down tremendously. He knows it too. Coming right around here out of turn number 3 down to turn number 4 here, and right now the 5 Jan Van Leer and the OxyClean is starting to fall back just a little bit. Michael Dean, the 73, looking to hang in there and keep full control and full distance, not letting off, not letting in. Every driver for themselves, and look up ahead right now too. We got another battle for a position, top 6. John Kay in the number 2, and the 50 Corey Rutherford, trying to use that official pace truck that, you know, he kind of stole. Right onto the track there, trying to make some extra speeds and kick out of it. But I can see there's a little bit of damage on that right rear fender of the wing itself. That can be huge trouble here, because without that wing in the spoiler kind of straightened out or nice and even keeled, that actually acts like more of a parachute than anything, and actually will slow you down tremendously. Not giving him much effort or kind of any run to really use off of. Knows he can't have that happen. He's going to have to get that dent fixed out at all possible as soon as he can to try to stick with this momentum and this run coming from these guys. The Dina drivers now moving right up in position to get up ahead of Jan Van Leer. Jan, though, not giving up too easily here. The 72 machine trying to make the drive, but you can see here comes the big bad Silverado on the bottom. He ain't gonna hold top, hold middle, and hold ground, but he's still got company on the bottom. And he's burned quite a bit of tire just doing that little tread split there, making a move here. Oh, speaking of making a move, here comes Ryan Dye. The number 15 Legion Machine looking to make a fight back at all of them. Crisscrossed applesauce off the turn 4. And just like that, Ryan Dye making a great effort to make a pass around him. Now looking for the full control of this race. He's got the momentum, he's got the tires, and he's got the run. But again, can he get this Allegiant 15 in full condition? That is the biggest question. Remember, he is about 11 seconds back of Jeremy McKinnon. McKinnon with a huge lead up ahead of him right now as Chad Stearns heads into pit road. I don't think he's going to be able to catch McKinnon with sheer speed alone, but I think his strategy might just be enough. Remember, the pit stops wise, guys were set back a course of about 15 seconds or so when they were in pit road. So that may be a difference maker for these drivers. It may be a difference maker in total for everyone on the chopping block here. Nathan Reynolds, without a doubt, putting up a great performance in his Billy Bad Butt Motorsports team crew, number 51. Doing an extremely excellent job working with Jeremy McKinnon, trying to keep him honest and trying to keep him in play. Both Fords right now absolutely tearing it up down here on the track. But it is at the moment Jeremy McKinnon in the 12 who has the race lead. But for how long will he be able to keep it? That is the end goal. That is the end position right now, because a lot of drivers are starting to fall further and further behind the 8 ball here. Let's take a look at lap times here as well. Take a look and show you guys how much speed your former leader Ryan Dye is pulling up on John Kay. John Kay right now currently giving him 0.5 of a second here. That's almost a full second that he's giving him from lap 58 to 59, 60, 61, 62. And although maybe half a second, that's still a good margin of error. Dye has a lot of power right now. He's using at full pork and full teak. And Langston and Palicki going into pit road. Kay and Dye are now moving into 3rd and 4th. The gap is now separated out by a mere 9 seconds for Dye and McKinnon. And remember, I'm bringing Dye up because he was the one that was in the lead when he went in at a halfway point and pitted in. So right now, at the way this is looking, he has the advantage. Even if Nathan Reynolds pushes McKinnon around a little bit and helps him out, helps himself out, I still am questioning if it's going to be enough to keep his run and keep his momentum on point and full control at the minute, especially when you got lap traffic trying to make their way around you and trying to get into this race, if at all possible, looking for positions and looking for points. We talk about how much that race win means a lot to these guys and what they're after, but we also don't talk about enough of what the positions and the points do for these guys long term. Again, some good positioning, a good track will actually help out more than the race wins ever would, believe me. And if you don't believe me, you can go talk to Cindy the Closer Taylor about that. She had a couple of times in the season where she never even won a race and the championship belonged to her. Heck, you want to even go further back? Let's go back to 2003. Matt Kenseth, may I say more? Only won one race, but his points total and his consistency on the track, he flat out destroyed and dominated that season. And Nathan Reynolds will have to blink first here with McKinnon staying on out. McKinnon gonna drive out for this distance here. Gonna drive out a little longer. This is an interesting set here. I'm not sure what he's up to or what his strategy is, but I think he knows he is in a problematic zone with Ryan Dye right now. If I had to guess, I'm presuming McKinnon wants to try to last out just a little bit longer and try to fuel and pit strategize himself here. Looking to take at it here and maybe make a move on Dye. I don't know for sure. We'll have to see as he's going to stay on out and continue his drive around the track. Brian Mitchell, the number 78, moving back into the top 5 here, surprisingly here after all the minor bruises, hiccups, and messes in between. Seems to have kind of lightened the load up and kind of found himself in a better place here. The number 17, Garrett Rainey, going to get a lap back ahead of him, but he's not ahead of laps here, and still needs to get there to McKinnon. Well, that's still one place he can hold himself off with. One thing we haven't talked about either is this good beer, number 35, Shane Winslow. He's been a silent assassin tonight, race fans. Look at this. Top 4 right now. He's 20 spots up. He is actually the hard charger. And right now, looking at his pit strategy and his fuel run, he's been in pit. He was in pit road last time at lap 36, as Will Salamone is now in there. So, I mean, he's right up there with McKinnon. He's right, almost up there with Ryan Dye by about 13 laps. But Winslow right now has been rather consistent. Been pretty clever with the strategy. Not saying that's going to give him enough time to take this one home, but I mean, it certainly does make things a little more interesting. And speaking of more interesting, Dye a little bit into the mix here between Plicki and Veers. The number 13 there of Brandon Veers almost getting into the number 32 of Andy Plicki as they came off down in turn 1. That was a 3-wide scenario you don't want to find yourself in, especially when you're literally this close to the position in the end game. If it stays under green, then yeah, it's going to be a drive for these guys, and they know it. That's what I think some of them are wanting, and some of them are very worried about because they didn't plan their strategy out the way they were hoping for, and now just hoping for a bit of a break. Talk about it all the time in motorsports, whether or not can you get lucky and can you find the right times to strike, the right place, the right area to use for yourself or use for this kind of racing. This is the kind of racing we talk about all the time, and it really, to me, seems more and more, we seem like we're getting more drivers getting cleverer or getting a little bit more crazier with how they run the track and how they run the fields. McKinnon and Dye still separated out by 8 seconds right now. The battle for your top 12. Ellison, Stearns, and Rutherford merely just a 2/10 of a difference. Two-tenths of a difference, and not a whole lot of breathing room in between there. That certainly makes things a lot more interesting if you ask me. The red diamond Toyota Tundra of Ellison right now currently getting a whole good look of the rear bumper. As you can see right now, he's still trying to keep that front bumper away from Chad Stearns getting up ahead of him. Stearns not going to give him any openings though, not going to give him any chances to survive here. He wants to make sure he keeps all the honesty in the 55 and keep pressure on him. If he can do that, he will certainly have his hands full and work around with this place. And again, Chad Stearns, last time out at Richmond, took home the victory there. He's looking to try and capture this one as well. Still not able to make the passes just yet or make the run here. And the gap's starting to slowly fade for McKinnon as Dye is merely just at 7.5 seconds behind him. I am now under the concern in the circumstances here. Is McKinnon trying to stretch out the run? Is he literally trying to do something I did not even think about? Remember that Dye breeding them went all in at lap 49, lap 49. If McKinnon goes that length, I mean, he would still be short. With 25 laps to go, he would be short by about 10 or so laps. Even if he stretched the fuel line out. And even if he held them back, he's still got company behind him coming up. And oh my, speaking of company coming up, Dye, if I was you, I'd probably find a place to hide, buddy. You got 4 trucks coming for the spot, coming for an opening. This could get interesting. 3 wide off turn number 2. Dye is stuck in the middle of a heated war between these drivers trying to get their lead lap back. Dye not giving him an inch though, and Stearns will drive it to the outside, managing a hard charge up there, getting right up between the 15. But he's using a lot of tires up just to make that move there happen. He knows he's got to get back down and get back in position. Dye's not giving them an inch, and neither is John Kay or Ellison. Rutherford up top now looking for an opening. All drivers just trying to avoid trouble. keeping it clean, keeping it good. I am very impressed with this. Great stuff by the drivers. Great stuff by these Venom Truck Series drivers. Impressive. When they got in a little tough spot there, they did not hesitate. They did not move out of the way, but they did not let off either. And a great showing of driving and technique and control shows why these guys certainly are a handful to watch, and they are fun to watch. Now Andy Flick in the third, so looking for a move off down on below, and the number 28 around Rodney Roberts. Rodney Roberts here, the Hooters machine, trying to stay in control, stay close to the guard here. McKinnon heads to pit road. We've got a new leader, Ryan Dye, to the race lead, and now looking to finally capitalize on this. But does he have time? Does he have the speed to do it? Wait a minute. Yellow is out. No! Oh my goodness. And that was the time McKinnon did not need to see either, but a caution is out, and a caution has now derailed Ryan Dye's move to success, and I don't even think he can believe what just happened. And we don't even know what just happened until we take a look at this PTM replay. We're getting word right now, this is what brought the caution out. It was between the 78 of Brian Mitchell, Corey Rutherford, and the 50, and the 2 of John Kay. John Kay just barely clips it in there with the 78. And Mitchell wrecking right in front of the leaders. They had to get the caution out. There wasn't much they could do in that scenario, but what a time to be stuck in that position and a bad spot to be put into if you are any of the guys that were literally trying to stint this one out on the fuel. Just that little tap, and then man, it took a huge hit there. The 78 though, Mitchell, he managed to drive off. He was A-okay, but one more look at it here from his onboard camera. Watch as these trucks just literally shift straight to the right. Took a huge hit there and a good little noggin knocker. And remember, there are 0 fast repairs, so these drivers are literally doing all the work themselves to get these things back out. That's not good if you're any of those guys right now that were looking to just stretch this thing out to the victory ends. Jeremy McKinnon here is going to catch a huge break with that caution popping out right when it did. John Kay and Corey Rutherford here, I gotta believe, are literally as about as stunned as anything. That slight little tap there cost a lot of drivers time, ground, and position. And the Akuma, number 12, Savage Arms F-150 of Jeremy McKinnon, now has an increasingly good shot, but here's the deal. Ryan Dye is back out with him, and Dye, mind you, has a little bit fresher set of tires. It's not much, but it's more than what I think the other guys were expecting here. McKinnon went into pit road at lap number 78, 77-ish. And Dye just came out at lap number 80. So now this is going to completely revert and flip this race upside down. And it looks like McKinnon actually is going to go back in there too. So it looks like, I'm just getting word as well right now, reading over his info and telemetry. He actually went into pit road for about 14.23 seconds before that caution came out. So actually this is going to cost him here more than anything. He was trying to go in for just fuel. He didn't realize that he can take all sets of tires and come away with this one. Now he's even further back behind the pack. That's not what he wanted to see either. Whoa. Well, that's why we have our live timing sheets all set up here and ready to go, as always, here on PTM Racing TV. Let's take a look at that pit strategy now here, popping up on your guys' end here. This is their pit stop length and stint they had gone. You can see the length of the difference. Everybody putting up a very good stint, a very good drive, and look at the difference between the guys that were in the top half to the guys that are now in the bottom half. Dye was really going for broke and going for it all there with that halfway run, and it looked like it was going to pay off. But now He's going to have to literally outdrive and outmaster a packed, drafting, speed demon set of drivers with guys that are right now trying to get back up to the front, like Jeremy McKinnon, as well as Jan Van Leer, and even some of the guys that are kind of thrown into the outhouse, back into the White House, like Chad Stearns in the 05, last week's feature winner. Race fans, I have absolutely no idea where to go with this one and who's going to take this one home. The only thing we do know is buckle up. This could get bumpy. On the restart here, we will have a mere 16 laps remaining. Opportunities to strike at a fever pitch, opportunities to win at a high level are coming up. And Jeff Langston in 21 coming to a dead stop here, did not give him permission to pass the pace truck, so Langston unfortunately will not get any of his laps back here that he was kind of hoping for, I would presume. Even then, he's quite a few laps down as it is, so I think he's just kind of playing fair and letting the drivers race it out at this point. Good sportsmanship on his end. Well, my, if you're Nathan Reynolds right now, you literally gotta be jumping for joy knowing you have a chance to take on the likes of Ryan Dye and get your first win of the season. Dye has been second place for a good chunk of these races, a good chunk of these battles. Hasn't been able to pull this one off yet. Well, that changed. We've only had one back-to-back winner, one winner that only went twice, and that was Carson Mitchell. At the race winners this season, Kyle Zittel, Andy Palicki, Jeff Langston, Carson Mitchell, as just previously mentioned, Paul Ellison, Chad Stearns, have all tasted victory lane. Now these drivers get to try to go for it too. The green is out, and we're back underway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And make no bones about it, this is not going to be a plate. This is not going to be a plate run anymore. This is now going to be a back. It's going to be a back them off and fight them off for everything you got kind of race here. Nathan Reynolds popping on the outside. Andy Palicki right down the middle. Now coming right with the 51. Looking to try to hit the marks and hit the shots. Dye is going to have to defend with everything he's got. We saw earlier on he had a great amount of speed when it came to the beginning of the run, but he faded off, letting the truck kind of settle in, using his timing for the fuel. You can't do that now. Now he's got to try to actually maneuver the steering and the speeds with it and still find a way to hold off the draft speeds and power. These guys are throwing on all cylinders. Brantley Gainey Jr. now is in the mix as well. Here comes the number 22 machinist. He's got company with Kyle that'll look at him make it for a second driver to go with 2 wins this season. The bad guy creeping up, kind of dropping on the low. Seems to be rolling so low. This bud is right now going for it. Now he says, let's go. Driving down on the track off of turn number 4. Still looking for an opening as he's got Brantley Gainey Jr. on the bottom lane, but there is trouble up ahead for Ryan Dye. Reynolds has got the right rear corner panel, the left front locked in that half point of the truck, blocking the line for Dye to drift up. Reynolds has the momentum. If he can get a hand from the draft, he got a chance here, but almost collects it in with Palicki entering into turn number 2. 3 and 4, as they should say here, coming off the edges here as the Nissan 32 tries to hang on. The Nissan 32 Ford F-150 machine is just right now in a huge mix-up of the mix-up puzzle, trying to figure out which piece goes where. I don't think that piece goes there though. Palicki getting into it a little bit. Reynolds now Dye trying to drive it harder off into the corners. There's only 11 laps remaining coming to the line, and right now you got hard racing and a fever pitch. One wrong move and could spell trouble. And don't look now, but coming from the outhouse, looking for the White House, Chad Stearns, the 05 is now cleaning house. looking on at his opposition and what's up ahead, going to the outside, then bringing it down to the bottom, looking for a run, looking for an opening, trying to force Gainey Jr. to freeze up and make a mix-up in the mess-up here. And Jeremy McKinnon now bringing it right back to all of them. The 12 has got a fresh set of tires and a whole lot more speed to his name. But how much did he use just trying to get up there? Literally, this top 10 right now is in a battle for the race win with 10 to go. Top 5 on your screen. Anybody's guess, anybody's spot. Just depends on how you want to take it on. Guy right now literally going full haywire, hammer down into the speed and into the throttle, just trying to keep the number 32 Pilecki behind him, as well as Reynolds right into that mix. Yes, anybody's guess who takes this one on right now. They continue to feel the speeds and feel the momentum. There is just so much at stake, so much on the line. A first win for many drivers, a first win of the season, maybe even a second win for a few others. And championship oppositions looking to take full control of the early part of the season. 8 laps to go now, and it's Reynolds and Dye still back and forth, neither one letting off the other, but Dye is burning tires up, just trying it as hard as he is, and giving openings where he does too. Look at this, Reynolds trying to squeeze the life out of the 15. He couldn't get it. He couldn't get to the Anaconda Vice there on the 15. Dye was able to block it. He was trying to grip and rattle his chain on the bottom, looked to run him off. He did not get enough of it, and it just was not there. Dye is literally holding on, knows what this race means to him. McKinnon, though, knows what this means to him as well, and the 12 really trying to absolutely dominate this one with pure speed and power. Reynolds throwing the drop to the inside. Here comes Reynolds. The Anaconda Vice locked to the bottom. Can he keep it there? Dye's driving for everything he's got. He's hanging on, though. This is a drag race to the line, and Dye had him by about 11 hundredths. Oh, he puts the bumper to him there on the side, trying to get Reynolds to stay there so he can keep the speed on the outside. McKinnon loves what he sees. He knows he can now put himself in the contention. Kyle's in also right in the mix. We've got a 4-truck battle for the lead with only 5 laps to go, coming to the line. But which one will outpace the other? Which one will take full control? Reynolds and Dye literally just completely taking this one to the absolute limits of the truck. Looking and hoping for the other to make one slight mistake. Still trying to get back into that mix, trying to get back into that fight as well. Dye still up on the top side, blocking Reynolds' run. Now McKinnon to the top, looking to get Dye to push just a little bit more than Reynolds and take the edge off of both of them. McKinnon has the more speed, the more tempo. The tires are right there for the taking, and he pushes Dye ahead. Reynolds is in trouble. Reynolds made a great effort and a great move, but now Reynolds is not happy with McKinnon. He doesn't want him by. Dye now, left all alone. He's got a chance still. Oh my word, we literally just saw a complete flip around and switch up at this race, literally just in a matter of laps. In a matter of turns, that's how quick things change on a vine here. And especially here on PTM Racing TV, you just never know who will make it to the back fighting for all they got. Brantley Gainey Jr., the hard charger with 15 spots up, looking with a nice 12. Paul Ellison making a great little resurgence back into the fray with the red diamond 55. Looking to hang on and maybe make one run move to these guys up ahead of him. But Ryan Dye currently just trying to keep speed at a blistering tempo. McKinnon, though, and Reynolds going to go back to draft one another. Did McKinnon overdrive too much trying to get around him? And did he use too much to get to Dye? We've got 2 laps to go. And the timing sheets are telling us right now McKinnon did not get any ground there on Dye. Dye this time actually built a little bit more momentum off. What a performance here as the Legion 15 and the 12 of Salvage Arms of McKinnon can't seem to keep himself under control and can't seem to keep this thing at full speed. They're coming down. to the final laps. White flag high in the air. Ryan Dye will get the white out. He knows this will end under the checkers. McKinnon looking for one more draft, one more leg, one more gear, anything to help him. He's not getting it though. It's starting to fade. Ryan Dye to the back straightaway. Just one more time around. Can he get it? Down to the bottom here, exiting off. And at long last, a long-awaited return to victory lane goes to the Allegiant 15. Ryan Dye wins the Show Me Your 99 at Vegas. Impressive. Absolutely impressive. Well, you guys can say all you want about who got where and who got what, but I cannot recall the last time we saw a strategy go from long-term to a mid-term / short-term and somehow perfect both in the same race with a truck that a lot of people usually think can only be set up for a certain way. But Ryan Dye found a way to do it and found a way to pop this one into victory lane. He takes home the victory, and the Allegiant 15 will get to celebrate tonight. His colleagues, Garrett Rainey and Eric Breeding and John Kay, all right beside him now, looking on at the man that put the 15 into the spot he's been waiting so long for. Here is our race results. What a performance. Ryan Dye wins this one out by sheer speed and a little bit of luck from the other guys making too many mistakes. McKinnon will have to settle for another second place finish. Nathan Reynolds will go third out of a hard charge and a fight for that lead. Just came up so short. Kyle Zittel going a great fourth place finish. Great showing from him in the top 5. And Andy Palicki, what can you say about this cat? Hard charges, 12 spots up. Put on a hell of a performance to give it all he had. Chad Stearns getting 6th, 7th to Brentley Gein Jr., 8th to Paul Ellison. Eric Breeding going 9th there. Good showing from him. And Jan Van Leer getting a top 10 once again. Rounds out your top 10 field. And whew, I may need to go head down to the craps table, or I may need to go be by the Playboy Mansion just to chill out a little bit. My word, that was nuts. The last one was a joke, guys. Don't take that one seriously. Let's get down here. Let's talk with our drivers. Your top 3 are now about to talk with me here and settle into the show. And, you know, I have a feeling right now we're going to hear some really happy people. And one of them, it just so happens to be the man that pops away with the victory. Your Show Me Your 99 race winner in Vegas, Ryan Dye, pops this one off. Ryan, what a performance.
Woo! Thank you, brother. Man, that was fun. Those last 10 laps were some of the hardest racing I think I've ever done. You know, Nathan to be my best friend and my teammate, getting to go side by side with him for that long was really cool. I'm still shaking. Man, that was fun.
I was just about to say, literally, you two went back and forth, head to head, mano a mano, down to the line, down to the edges here. It looked like Reynolds had the speed and the power when he put the vice grip on the bottom lane at you. Were you a little bit concerned that he may drift up and kind of ruin both of you guys, or do you think it was just a hard racing thing there?
If I'm going to be outside of somebody and race that close, he's probably the one person I would want to be side by side with. We've raced together for over a year now, hundreds and hundreds of races. So as far as feeling comfortable that he is the one person, but yeah, I thought he had me when he went to the inside, and I knew my only chance was to try to drag as close as I could and almost side draft him through the turns and hope he got tight, which I think he did. But man, that was really cool.
It was indeed, and as I mentioned here on the show, you went from a extremely long-term strategy to having to go and flip it around to a midterm, short-term run, and you performed it perfectly. Who do you want to thank for this first win this season?
Oh man, to thank my team, Nathan, Garrett, Eric, John, and Brandon. They were giving me some nice words in my ears those last couple laps to keep me calm. Thanks to them, thanks to this league. I love these guys. I love this league, and then thanks to you for broadcasting for us, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely. What a performance here, Ryan. Congratulations. Absolutely well deserved, sir.
Thank you.
Ryan Dye, ladies and gentlemen, will walk away with the win. And a second place contender here coming away very hot on the speed as well here. Our friend from Canada here, Jeremy McKinnon, here comes back onto the show in the Salvage Arms, number 12. McKinnon, a performance, I would say, that was kind of spot on and then spot off at times with came to that caution, but then you had a chance coming up on the last laps. Fresh set of tires just about did it, Adam.
Yeah, I just got tight behind that Ryan there. About 5 laps ago, just got aero tight on me.
Got a little aero tight on you, and then I'm going to ask you this too here, man. You literally were running right at the edges, right at the cliff, and you had to battle it with Reynolds a little bit too. Do you think maybe that kind of did slow you down a bit too, just to try to get this thing a little bit more speed up on the barge?
I don't think so. I think it was just a bad pit call. I was on pit road when that caution came out, and I think that pretty much did me in.
Well, it may have did you in a little bit, but it did not did you in for a podium today. So, another strong performance by you and the crew, my friend. Who do you want to thank for this today?
Everybody, my team.
For sure there. All right, McKinnon, congratulations on the second place finish, sir, and we certainly hope to see you next time on out here, buddy.
Thanks.
Jeremy McKinnon, ladies and gentlemen, the number 12, coming away here with another solid performance here. And how about this here, coming away another performance here for the ages. Nathan Reynolds going away third here out of the bunch. Reynolds, though, that could have been either second or first you had a few times. You and Dye were going for broke and going for it all. That is hard racing right there.
Man, I tell you, that was some of the most fun I think I've had in quite some time here on the service. I think my face hurts where I was smiling so much those last few laps. And Ryan's a really good friend and a teammate of mine that we got into the league together. And so to finally, after 4 seasons, and I know I've been part-time the last couple, but to finally have a race where we're side by side, door to door, and especially that long for a win, man, that was awesome.
It was awesome. It was really fun to call, and just like you and Di, I kind of want to ask about this too here, man. I mean, how difficult was it for either of you drivers to have to switch the strategy? You went long term from like a 1/3 of a lap sections here of the pit stops to then having to go and flip flop that into literally a last minute dash for the passes here in just a matter of 16 laps. What the heck was going through your guys' mind when you had to drive for that?
Oh yeah, I knew that I was going to be all out. I ran the first 2 pit cycles, kind of the same mentality, pacing myself for splitting the race into thirds, and that's what I was preparing to do for the final stage. And caution, throwing a wrench in that, I knew after that it was just going to be wide open, pedal to the metal.
It certainly was pedal to the metal, as it lives up to not only our nickname with PTM Racing TV, but it lives up to your standards of applying for this league. I must ask you, Reynolds, who do you want to thank for this podium today?
Big thanks to all my friends here in the league for putting up with me as long as I have. I love racing with these guys, and I've been pretty distant here lately, so I'm super thrilled to be back with these guys. I mean, honestly, my first lap that I've turned here at Vegas since the officials were here was my qualifying lap, so I'm beyond thrilled to even come away with a podium. Big thanks to RJ Starcinovich on Instagram, who has the NASCAR report page. He has done a really good job at helping me advertise my YouTube Car Inside channel, and a big friend of mine. Just all of my friends and teammates couldn't be more happy to be back and hanging out with those guys tonight.
Absolutely. Reynolds, man, what a performance and a great showing by you and the crew. Congratulations on this third.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Nathan Reynolds, ladies and gentlemen, going to bring it home for a third place finish here today. And race fans, that will all but cover your showcase today of the Show Me Your 99 presented by Cole Custom Setups, or Cole Custom Shop here. as we bring it down here in Venom Truck Series to Vegas. What a show. It's really all I got to say. I don't know what else to tell you guys. You guys just go ahead and like and follow us up here on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube as always. Thank you so much for the support. 2 years of doing this. It never gets old, and I still love it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you guys next time when the green flag is flying high on PTM Racing TV.